Hi Aries, and welcome to your Spiritual Path Tarot reading for June 2019. Now this tarot reading is intended for those who are spiritually gifted, on a spiritual journey right now, or just awakening to their spiritual self, okay? So I'm going to start by pulling a card to see the overall energy on your spiritual path, spiritual journey for the month of June, what you'll be focusing on. And we have midheaven jumping out, destined encounters. So Aries, in the month of June, there's going to be people, or there's certain events that are going to take place in your life that are very much in alignment to your spiritual path right now, okay? And this can come in through so many different avenues. So my advice with this is leave no stone unturned. Pay really close attention to signs and synchronicities, or just stuff that kind of stands out to you. Like there's no real reason why, but it just kind of like is in the forefront of your awareness. Really pay attention to those things. Write them down maybe, because with this coming out, Aries, there could be some big shifts and turns for the positive for you in the month of June, in regards to your spirituality, especially those of you who are trying to expand maybe into a spiritual business, or really expand your spiritual understanding on some level. Okay, so let's pull some more cards here, Aries. Okay, so we have sadness, and we have new moon beginning. Nice. And you know, the new moon is at the start of June, the Gemini new moon. So very positive energy for Aries in the month of June, with this lineup. Now, the sadness, this here is what's shifting for you, Aries. And I know when you're on a spiritual journey, there's a lot of solitude that is involved with that, and that can get very lonely. It can get painful. Just depending on where you're at, there's a period of disillusionment that takes place where you really start to see people and situations for the truth of things, because as you begin to elevate and expand consciously, you start becoming aware of all the ways in which, you know, you don't honor and appreciate yourself to the capacity that you should. And you know, the further you get on your journey, you'll be surprised at how much more you honor yourself, the more spiritual you become. And it's not an ego thing. You realize all is energy and all is spirit, and therefore your physical vessel is spirit, your soul is spirit, and there is this honor that goes into that, okay? And so for you guys, Aries, what I see is that shifting where you had to accept and see certain people and situations for what they were. And some of you, this could be spiritual mentors or people that you looked up to in that capacity, and you're just seeing some truths about them, and it hurt, okay? It's not what you wanted to know. It's not what you wanted to see about them. And when you come across situations like that, where it's somebody you do deem as spiritual and you look up to them, and then you find out things that are not appealing whatsoever, the disillusionment of that is very painful and traumatic almost. I can tell you there was a couple of people in my life that I really thought highly of and looked up to, and thought they were the real deal because they were incredibly talented. However, not everybody who is spiritually gifted and talented is operating from the right place. And that doesn't mean that they're malicious or they're, you know, trying to spread negativity. It's just some people are operating more from ego rather than consciousness. And even if you're incredibly spiritually gifted and talented, if you are operating from ego, there is a ceiling to your potential, okay? There's a point at which you recognize that your spiritual gift and talent is, yes, acquired over many lifetimes. However, you are just the vessel, you know, bringing forth the spirituality, the light, the love from the higher realms. And the more that you invest yourself into that practice and that process over lifetime, over lifetime, over lifetime, each incarnation, you're just more open to the higher realms. You can channel much easier, okay? But from one lifetime to the next, we operate under a different personality, different culture, life experience, all sorts of things. So even though somebody can be incredibly gifted spiritually, it doesn't mean that their ego isn't preventing them from truly seeing beyond the veil in this much more dimensional sense. I'm really struggling on how to articulate this because it was a painful lesson for me, but I had to realize it's a matter of consciousness. Where somebody is operating consciously, that's as far as they can go. And, you know, a lot of times somebody who's very spiritually gifted and talented will think, oh, you know, I'm the best thing ever, da 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 da. And it really goes to their head. And that's just not in spirituality. That's in any talent that anybody has. If somebody is incredibly talented, there is a extreme risk of that really going to the ego and the person operating from that space rather than from the space of their soul and their passion, which was the original driving force to where they are now today. So, Aries, if you are being disillusioned, it's because Spirit's saying your consciousness is expanding beyond where you're at, and there's this new beginning coming in for you, and this is part of your destiny, and you've done your work. And don't lose heart for people that let you down, or you're becoming disillusioned, even if you really thought highly of them or looked up to them. You must understand that the consciousness in which you were existing, that connection or those connections was right in alignment with that. But you've done a lot of work, you've done a lot of shifting, and now you're elevating. And through that elevation, all of these connections and mentors, whatever, that all falls away, and your belief system is going to change and it's going to expand. I can tell you this, what I was originally operating from and thinking about when I started my journey is so not my consciousness today. And, you know, when you're first awakening, it can be very confusing. There's so much contradictory information and so many weird new age beliefs, and just there's all kinds of information overload. And, you know, because spirituality is not something that you go to school for, a lot of people self-anoint to work in the spiritual, you know, business because, oh, I've learned these things, so therefore I'm going to do them. And that doesn't mean that they are, you know, even in a position to do them. So it can get very confusing, disheartening, overwhelming as you sift and sort through all this information. However, you've got to understand that there is no final truth. Being in the human form, there is no final truth. The non-physical prime creator is the unknowable in the human form. That is part of this experience, okay, for the development of your soul. And therefore, anybody who's trying to tell you they have all the answers and they have a perfect, clear channel to spirit at all times, Aries, those red flag, red flag, red flag. Because I can tell you what, sometimes I am on fire and unstoppable, and other times I am struggling to do a reading, okay? It's all about consciousness and energy and the way we're shifting and growing and changing. And my whole point is never ever think that where you are right now is the final destination, or there's not more to learn, gain, and understand beyond it. Even if you are incredibly wise and extremely grown consciously, Spirit's coming in saying, wherever you're at on your journey, Aries, we're about to shift. And it's because you've done your work, and this is new territory that you're heading into. So there are new belief systems that you're going to be exposed to. There are connections and mentors that will fall away from your life, okay? And some of you, I feel, are stepping up into a leadership position where you're spiritually anointed, and people that you've been dealing with are self-anointed, and therefore you've had confusion about where your place is opposed to these people, and Spirit's saying, listen, never compare yourself to any other or their journey, no matter what they look like, what they seem. It's irrelevant to you and your path. They're just a stop along the way. Some of these people are going to go with you and grow with you. Others, again, are just stops along the way, and they have no interest in expanding further than where they're at. And Aries, with this, I see you guys are meant to grow much bigger, okay? So let's pull some more cards here. All right, so you guys had some jumpers. What do we got? Oh, nice. Look at that. Rebirth and new moon beginning. Oh, I love it. And if you notice, this woman has been completely hollowed out. There is nothing more in there. Why? Because Spirit's about to fill it up with all new stuff, new light, new information, new consciousness. Oh, Aries, June is a powerful time for those of you who are on a spiritual journey. Nice, unique style. Oh, I love it. Just like what I was saying, it doesn't matter who has taught you, who has inspired you. Go with the promptings of your own soul. And when you've outgrown something, you've outgrown something. Even if it's somebody you really admire, you know, Aries, this is Spirit saying you go with your unique style, what you feel, the beliefs, the ideas, the epiphanies that come to you, those are just as divine as any other, and you should never discount them. And with this coming out, you could be a bit eccentric, like you really see things differently, and Spirit says go with it. Don't go inside somebody else's box. You are not here for that. And here's your confirmation. Your beliefs, look at that. The only thing, oh my gosh, I love Spirit. Gosh, Aries, I'm sorry. You're probably like, lady, shut up and give me my reading. Stop being all lovey-dovey with Spirit. But exactly what I was saying, like, you are about to expand, Aries, and there's people and mentors and situations around you that have kept you in a box, and Spirit's helping you break out of that. It's time for a huge paradigm shift in your belief system about you, what you're capable of, why you're here, and not being afraid to rise above those who have taught you, because Aries, no, Spirit has plans for you and your unique gifts. Now we have atonement coming out. So, this here is about, I don't want to say forgiveness, but this is accountability and ownership. And you know what? I don't feel like that's so much on you, Aries. What I feel is the sadness here is Spirit saying, like, you've got to let some things go, even if you don't receive an apology or respect or honor. It's like, just let it go. Don't let it taint you and what's ahead for you, because Spirit has plans, Aries. And look at that, spiritual companion. There is a new person that's coming into your world, and this is not romantic, okay? Just because it says companion. It's not a romantic connection. This is a spiritual connection. This is somebody who is your equal, where you guys each have information that's different from each other, but your consciousness is on the same wavelength, and you guys are going to share ideas and grow with each other and from each other, and you're going to talk about spirit, and you're going to bond, and this is just a better fit for you for the new beginning, the rebirth, where you're headed, Aries. So the new spiritual companion or companions that Spirit's bringing into your world, these are those destined encounters that came out at the very start of the reading, Aries, and they are to help you walk on the next part of your journey. And I do feel there's a lot that you're leaving behind, even some plans with some people, or how you were really wanting to go about doing something. But Aries, trust Spirit. What's up ahead is better, where you can truly be who you are and share your gift in your unique way, and this person will really support you. And also, I feel open you up to a lot of different ideas and concepts that you've never really heard before, and vice versa. You're going to open them in a lot of different ways, and you guys just really grow spiritually, but it's a very positive experience. Okay, so let's pull some tarot. All right, man, you guys have jumpers. Okay, looks like that's 3, just like with those you had 3 fly out. So let's see. All right. Okay, so this here, Aries, is all about repeating lessons, but it's coming out under rebirth. So there is definitely a challenge that you have overcome, a lesson that has played out over and over. And I really feel it has to do with disillusionment and the way that you've allowed yourself to be boxed in with beliefs based upon others' beliefs and opinions. And that's like you're breaking free of that, because it kept you in this loop where you could not evolve further than where you were. Next out, unanswered prayers. This is under unique style. Okay, very interesting pair up with this. However, this to me is saying the prayers were not answered because the lesson wasn't being learned. It was like you understood and you saw, but you were hoping for a different outcome. So you thought, well, if I go about it this way, or if you were getting red flags, or like getting intuitions about a person or a situation, but you were ignoring them because you really cared about the person or the situation. It's like Spirit's saying you couldn't evolve from that. The prayers couldn't be answered, couldn't come in that current vibration, in that consciousness, because you were not grasping. However, a shift has happened in you, Aries, and now we're headed for rebirth. And look at this, the lessons totem. This is all about observation. And this is coming in where the discernment, how you're realizing what you've outgrown and how other people are kind of keeping you boxed in based upon their belief systems. Nice. Now you have the Ace of Lessons. This is where we have received it, and now we're ready to overcome it and move on to a new beginning 100%. Only the wiser for it, and that's card 11, that's card 1. I love that lineup of ones right there, because we are talking about new beginnings, right? And look at this, the manifester. Yes, Aries. This would be the Emperor in a standard tarot deck, and so the Emperor is the representation of Aries energy. But what I want to point out, Aries, is this is coming out under the spiritual companion. So to me, Spirit has chosen this card because it's a representation of Aryan energy, and it could be another Aries, but it's more a depiction to me of the mirroring of you and this other soul or other souls, how you guys are very much in alignment vibrationally, with your desire to grow and expand spiritually, but also spiritual gifts and what you know. And it's just, you guys are coming together to move ahead, forge ahead spiritually. Like, this is the answered prayer right there that's coming through this new person that will be entering your world. Okay, Aries, it's very nice. You're gonna, I know you're coming off some really hard stuff. It could have really tested your faith and spirit and, you know, your purpose in this life. And am I here for spiritual work, or am I not? Like, I'm so confused. And again, all that information overload. And Aries, it's like the storm is now calming, and you have overcome quite a bit, and therefore now it's time for your rebirth. So let's pull one final card. Look at that. You matter, Aries. You really outgrew the energies and situations in your life. Especially spiritual mentors feel so strong for that. You've really outgrown all of that. And sometimes when people can see your potential and the strength of your light, it threatens their shine, and they try to make you believe that you're less than you are, and that you're not as talented as you are, and different intuitions and feelings you get about things are just, oh, you're being fear-based. And I just have to say, Aries, none of that is true. You are closer to spirit than you realize, and it's time to listen to your own intuition far more. I don't care who it is. I don't care. They could be famous, some famous spiritual person. I don't care who they are. You are unique, and you have your way and your talents all on your own. And I feel there's been an oppression of this, and you've really kind of spun your wheels, praying, hoping, like, change me, help me find the answer, when ultimately what happens here is you take a step back and you start observing, because here we're stuck in the cage, but here you see the owl sitting up in the tree on the branch, now free, and that sits right next to this ace. So as you step out of this belief paradigm and you come back and you observe, you realize how much bigger you truly are than the credit that's been given to you. And, you know, you just, boom, it clicks, you move forward. No more repeating lesson, no more need for prayer. You just get it, and you just like, shoop, almost like going into a new dimension of experiencing. And there's beautiful soul connections coming in for you, Aries, to help you on the next part of your journey. Okay, so June is definitely a month of transition, rebirth, and beautiful new things coming in that are part of your destiny, and you remembering your true value and worth. Okay, so those are your messages, Aries. I'm wishing you all the best. Take care.